Call me to order.
Yep.
5:30. Welcome, everybody. So now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, our big task for tonight. Well, actually, we may have the opioid task force might also be a big task, but we are going to interview 2 candidates for fire chief, which is a long time in coming. Do you have any questions or anything before we get started?
I don't think so.
All right.
I'd like to thank Russ and the group that he worked with through all this process. Again, the second time around, thank you for all your due diligence and hard work on that.
Much appreciated. So, I'm very thorough with the data.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have the patience myself, but all right. So we'd like to invite up Robert Flaherty. Now you have any questions as well as these.
I'm sorry.
Do you have other questions as well?
I just went back from. No, we can look off of it.
If there's anything you want to throw in.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, it's just past information that I had that I looked back on.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
We're excited to have a fire chief. We haven't had a great situation since Russ Anderson left us. I can't even remember now.
I'll figure it out.
Let's just say those were the good old days. So anyway, tell us about yourself.
So ultimately, my name is Robert Flaherty. I do typically go by Bob, just makes it a little bit easier for everybody. I'm originally from Western Mass. I grew up in East Hampton, spent about 20 years there, and then I moved to Hatfield, and now I'm going on 23 years there. Outside of the fire service, ultimately, I like to go camping. I have a seasonal campsite up in Vermont, and we used to snowmobile in the winter, but we haven't really had a lot of snow to do that. And in the spring, I umpire high school and little league baseball games and softball games.
You want to ask them? Go back and forth.
Sure. What interests you about this position?
So I've been in the area and been in the fire service for 23 years, so I know a lot about Western Mass. I've been through multiple departments just because of teaching. I've taught in the Hampshire County fire training program for about 15, 16 years now. So we used to actually travel over here when we used to move, week to week. So I've been in Granby. I've taught county school in Granby. And then in this case, for this particular job, I've been the fire chief in Hatfield for a little over 5 years. And I believe I was looking for a new challenge, but also to move to a department that's just slightly larger. I don't really have a lot of interest in going to a huge municipal department. That's just not in my wheelhouse. I like the small town feel. So.
And we're actually bigger than Hatfield, huh?
You're just about double. That's I think you're right around 6,100 and change or so. So you're just about double.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, I think Hatfield has the smallest independent school district in the state.
There is. We'll be just about 300 students for pre-K through 12 coming up likely.
Yeah, twice as big as that. All right, why do you think you're a good fit for this position in Granby?
I think I could fit in well here. I'm, coming from a relatively small town, or now spending half of my life in Hatfield. It's a very small town. I like working with people. I also think another piece of it is that I have a lot of experience in the fire service. Having over a couple of decades in the fire service, I've been in a command type position since 2007 when I first got promoted. And being 5 years as the fire chief in Hatfield, I did learn an awful lot, and I had spent 5 years as a deputy prior to that. So the last 5 years as chief, I learned a lot on how to manage personnel, manage budgets, and it's an ALS service over there as well. And I've taken the service, and we've evolved just like most communities. We went from straight call department to adding per diem staff. So I know how to get people to want to come work for me, and work for the town. If you treat your personnel correctly, they're the best asset you could possibly have. So
What do you hope to achieve in this role with this town?
So I think the first thing, and I brought it up during the very first interview, and the screening committee was fairly candid. There are going to be some challenges coming in as the new person. I think for me, the first thing is, meeting with all the personnel and getting a lay of the land and kind of figuring out what some of those issues have really been. I've heard some of the public things that have been in the paper for the last 10 or so years, I think, since Russ left. But getting down to the root of it and actually talking to the people and see where some of those internal concerns are, and then really trying to fix those is probably going to be the first thing. Because if you get the people to come back, it's going to help your overall service.
Okay.
How do you determine everyone is on the same page? I think maybe that follows up on the last question.
I think keeping everybody on the same page is communication. I'm big, and some of my current members probably get annoyed with me because I send out a lot of emails, but I like to keep the members of the department informed about the goings on, either day to day or week to week. I don't send emails daily to the department, but keeping them apprised of what is happening within the department so nobody is caught off guard. And I think that's probably one of the best things is just communication, because then nobody's left out in the dark.
How do you stay organized at work?
Probably to a fault. I would venture to say that I probably have a touch of OCD.
Okay.
I like to stay very organized. I have folders for everything, on my folders on the computer. I have folders on my desk. I don't like a lot of clutter. I stay on one task until it's completed, unless I'm currently called away for emergency calls and so forth. And then I come right back to it. So I try not to jump around too much. I stick with one thing, finish that project, and then move on to the next one. So I just very task oriented.
One thing at a time.
One thing at a time. There's no point in trying to juggle too many things. Every once in a while it's going to happen because that's just the nature of emergency response. But
Sure.
ultimately, I try to stick to a task so we get it done. And I set schedules on certain days of the week. I do certain things that I know that I have to do every week because I'm really the only person to do all of the work. So I set a schedule for certain things, CQI, billing, those types of things each week.
Okay.
How do you handle setbacks or failures?
At least on the municipal side, dealing with, my town currently, I've been a little bit frustrated, and just for the fact that I have a goal where I wanted to see the department end up. And it was one of those things that I had put out when I became chief in the beginning of 2020. So the frustration of not being able to meet my goal, how I deal with it. You kind of just have to roll with the punches. I don't like to give up on projects though, even though I'm being told no. I try to come up with another creative way. Maybe I can find, more money, or I can find a better way to do things to still ultimately achieve the goal. But I'm not going to give up on it just because it failed the first time. One of the things I've done in my town, I've tried 3 years to go to full-time staffing, and I'm still not ready to give up. At least out of it now.
Tell us about a time you failed and how you dealt with it.
It's always the tough question. I would say probably along the same lines as, I feel like I failed because I didn't reach my objectives that I had set out in 2020. So in my head, I feel like I didn't hit those goals. Although I did hit some of my 5-year goals at 3 years, I didn't hit all of my 5-year goals at 5 years. But I'm still working through it and trying to come up with new and innovative ways to ultimately still try to make that happen. But I don't just brush it off and, go crying in a corner or anything like that. I just got to figure out a better way to do it.
If I could just follow up from it, do you set your 3 and 5 year goals, or is that something that's done with the town?
I had come in with with a few 3 and 5 year goals when I took over. Being on the department for a while, there was things that I wanted to see happen, and I pretty much hit the bulk of them. I would say probably the one thing I really didn't get accomplished was getting that 2 people 24/7 365 in the first 5 years.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I mean, if I were to be offered this position, and I would still be here working on things. I feel like I'm that good candidate because I like to try to seek out and help the town. I know any town is always financially strapped. So in 5 years, continuing to work on grants, continue to move the department forward. And I know that some of the previous chiefs, and I know even, interim Chief Anderson in the room, he's still working on trying to get staffing where it needs to be in emergency services in general. And it's not specific to the town of Granby, but that would still be something that I would want to try to be moving towards just to make life safer for all the residents of town.
Actually, I'm the chief right now.
Oh,
That's right. I'm a strong chief.
That's right.
So strong I don't go to any fires and I don't make any decisions.
That is true. I forgot the legal with the
Yeah.
titles
He
and
didn't-
so forth.
It wasn't an insult or anything like that.
I do apologize.
Yeah, I just find it really bizarre that, I just signed paperwork, but I'm like, yeah, it scared me first. All right.
Always fun.
I skipped over that other time. Go again.
No, that's right.
All right. Well, what are your professional goals? We've talked a lot about goals. It seems like you're really good at setting goals. What are your professional goals?
So currently my first goal, and I would want to make sure that I was open and upfront if I were to be offered this position, I'm slated to attend next month, starting the 13-week CFO class, which is Chief Fire Officer Management through the Mass Fire Academy. So that's the very first thing that's coming up. I was in it last year. Unfortunately, I got COVID 2 days before, so they wouldn't let me in the classroom. So I'm going back to take care of that. I have actually looked at, I was paying down some of my student loans, and I was considering going back and also getting my bachelor's in fire science as well.
Yeah, one of my students, his father is a fire chief in another town, and it's one of the things his son wants to be on the fire department. His father said, "Get the bachelor's degree now."
I do kick myself that I didn't go back to school right after I graduated, but my background's in plumbing and I worked for a number of years, so I couldn't turn down the money at the time.
I wouldn't mind being.
What is an example of a time you disagreed with a colleague, and how did that go?
I probably the previous chief in town in Hatfield, there was a few times that we had disagreements. Unfortunately, he, different work ethics. So I think that was probably the biggest piece of why we sometimes butted heads, because I'm a 45, 50 hour a week type of employee, and sometimes he wasn't always there. So I'd get frustrated why things weren't getting done. And I had to address it as the deputy chief. And then I was heading towards the direction to become the chief. I had asked him numerous times to, are you going to teach me how to do certain things? And he kind of just brushed it off. So I ultimately had to take it upon myself, and I'm self-taught when it comes to most of the administrative side of being a fire chief. I learned it in my first 6 months.
So you were able to pick up on it and move forward rather than
Yes.
waiting for.
Yeah, I couldn't wait for him any longer because there was no point. I just took care of it myself, and now I have what I feel are pretty good systems in place. I track bill payments down every week. I have an Excel sheet that I work in, so I don't have to necessarily rely on the accountant for up to the minute numbers, because I keep track of everything on pretty much a week to week basis.
What does success look like to you in this role?
In this world,
In this role as a chief Granby?
I'd say probably success. The biggest thing is if we're responding to emergencies, which that's the goal. It's what we do, is to make sure that everybody ends up going home safe. We have no injuries. We have no fatalities on a fire scene by any firefighters, first and foremost. And then making sure that we also are protecting the residents of the town of Granby. I consider that a win if nobody ends up getting hurt or killed. A lot of the rest of it can work itself out. You can always rebuild the home and those types of things, but you can't replace people. So
That's correct. Can you describe a challenging emergency incident you managed and how you handled that situation?
So let's see, about 3.5 years ago, there was some major construction going on Route 5 and 10 in my town. They're doing new water lines, new sewer lines, and the contractor hit a 200 PSI natural gas line that runs up the road.
Emergency, I'd say.
So, and of course, it was pretty much in the middle of the day. I think we were maybe 1:10 or 1:12, I think was when the call came out. So, of course, there's only 2 of us on duty, including myself. So I was, first on scene with the engine. I had a few more people show up shortly thereafter. So I'm the initial incident commander, evacuating the homes, starting to get in the homes, do the readings, get the gas company moving. Fortunately, they had actually made the phone call as soon as they hit it. But really starting to mitigate that and starting to set the safe zone and getting all the people in there. It ended up turning into, I think we were there for about 14 hours.
Well,
When I first made lieutenant back in 2007, I think I was a lieutenant for maybe 3 weeks. And we have CNS Wholesale Grocers in town. I was the initial incident commander for an ammonia leak, and there's 20,000 pounds of ammonia over there that they use to ripen the bananas. And there was a pretty significant leak, pretty significant cloud. That was another 13-hour event. So I had the incident command for the first about 30, 35 minutes until the chief was able to make it there. And then I moved over to operations. So those are probably 2 of the biggest ones.
Yeah.
anything else?
So both of our candidates do not live in town. And I was wondering how that would work out. If you got the job as chief and there's a fire or emergency, how would you handle that?
I think probably the first thing is I know just in talking to some folks, because I had stopped over at the station the last time I was in town, and they expressed how there's an on-call officer each night, so there is somebody to ultimately take that initial command of the scene. But I know it's part of the job is that you got to get here. Where I currently live, yes, it is 22, 24 minutes, give or take, depending on traffic. 26 if it's really busy. So it would be the first few minutes to get there. My wife and I have spoke about possibly moving. The only downside right now is my daughter's in this ready to transition from middle school, high school. So if it's a 1 or 2 year to transition and then transition again to another new school in a very short amount of time. Actually, I talked to my daughter about it last week. She wasn't thrilled about that possibility right away, but
Yeah, that's the age where, that's rough on kids. All right. Yeah, because I mean, I'm pretty familiar with our staff and stuff, and I know what they can handle. They actually have kind of been handling it on their own. So.
yeah, I do happen to know, just because of being in the fire service so long, I don't know if the fire department roster online is completely up to date. I think when I looked, there was only 3 people that I didn't know from either just being on calls or having them in the academy because I teach there, or seeing them on, the hospital. So I know the large chunk of the membership of the department.
Good.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us?
I had asked some questions during the pre-screening, so I kind of covered the few things that I originally had. I would say that, is there an expected start time for the position?
That'll be up to.
I would say as soon as
possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, our biggest concern here is we haven't really had a steady chief since Russ, and the people we have on the force are good and they deserve the best. So we're looking for somebody who is ready to commit to the town and commit to our employees. And I think we're in a good situation. I think we have people in place now outside of the fire department to support you and to support the people. So I'm positive about that. I feel like that's going to be a good thing.
I had heard there's some change in leadership.
town administrator. Yeah.
I had heard that you were beginning of June you started. So.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, we've had quite a bit of turnover recently, but we're trying to get through it. So we want the
Yeah.
We want to try and get the right candidates in place. And
Yeah, I'd say she started off running, but that would be an understatement.
It's always a tough one.
There's a few extra things on her plate that she's handling, but it's yeah, I can't say that it's been easy on you to get started. So
Unfortunately, there's always something.
yeah, there's some. Okay, well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you very
Nice
much.
to meet you.
I appreciate your time.
thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Hopefully, they're giving notice, we have to get like a 90 days.
Oh, yeah, we should have asked.
What's that?
We should have asked the morning what,
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
soon, yeah.
We're looking for you, so you have to do the notice.
He's up parking lot.
Russ.
I think Russell out. So. Do you want to
Wanna ask him?
go grab him? Yeah. But I want to do things right. I do not want to be doing this in 2 weeks. I want to be doing it ASAP.
What would they normally give for a notice, George or Rich? Do you know, like for a fire chief, if you were a fire chief in town, would you give a 2 weeks notice, a 30-day notice?
Myself personally, I would give at least a 30 to a 60-day notice,
Okay.
only because the town would want to form a search committee and get notices out, hey, we're looking for somebody to replace.
Right.
And unfortunately, that takes time, as we all know.
30? Okay, that's kind of what George just said, 30 to 60 days. Thank you, George.
Right on target.
Okay.
Yeah, we're ready.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you. Dan.
I do have some of my certificate. You're in,
I think we have pretty much everything that you're, yeah, at our disposal here.
Sit right.
Yep, that's fine. I'll let you get yourself settled there. If you're all set, we'll get started.
Good.
All right. So this is a tough question. You ready? Tell us about yourself.
So I'm, my name is Evan Bryant. I originally my family grew up in Hoyoke. We moved to South Hadley when I was 3 years old. My great-grandfather, my grandfather were on Hoyoke Fire. So I kind of fell into that. I actually wanted to be a cop first, and then my cousin's a deputy chief in Hyannis, and he let me take ride-alongs and stuff. And around sophomore year of high school, that's when I kind of switched my career path and wanted to become a firefighter. I got on as a junior firefighter in 2004 with District 2. In 2007, I switched over to District 1 as a call firefighter, and then I got hired as a full-time police dispatcher for South Hadley PD. And then in 2011, I got hired at Barnes National as a civilian firefighter. And then 2012 is when I went full-time with South Hadley till 2018, and that's when I became the deputy chief in Hadley.
I think my cousin was Matt Bale was on them
Yes.
over there.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks. What interests you about this position?
So growing up next door, I've always came to Granby for charter days. My aunt lives in town, so we used to go to her house, then go to charter days, walk over to Dufresne's Park. We really like Hadley is almost like Granby to me for like the fire department way. We kind of followed the path for the fire department for us to move in our direction in the town of Hadley. So I really, when I saw this job open up, the reason I applied for it back in December, January is I lost my mom in December, and I was going through some stuff with that loss because she actually passed away in my arms. So that's why I didn't apply then. I should have, but I didn't because of that circumstances. And when I saw it come back open, I'm like, I'm definitely applying for it because I really love the town, the community style, the agricultural stuff as well, like we have in Hadley. It's really important.
Okay. Why do you think you're a good fit for this position in Granby?
So I've had a learning disability growing up through school, but after I got out of high school, I challenged myself and went for my associate's degree at Springfield Technical Community College, and I also went for my bachelor's degree at Columbia Southern University, and I just obtained my bachelor's degree. And after being out of high school, I felt like school was a lot easier for me. So the reason that I got all my stuff together so I can make myself as a good candidate as I can be for a position like this. Did I ever think that I would ever see myself as a deputy chief or fire chief when I first started? Not really, but I increased my progression into my officer style, and a lot of the people in Hadley, they also like me as the deputy chief, the way how I am and everything. So I just really think that, my schooling and my interaction with people has really given me the confidence to be where I need to be.
What do you hope to achieve in this role with this town?
The first thing I'd like to achieve is I'd like to get together with the whole department. I know it's a combination department, and I would like to sit down with everyone. I'd like to get a whole goal list of what they would like to see for pros and cons. I'd like to at least get, if you have a list of 10, I'd at least get 5 down to what the department wants. I would definitely meet with the police chief because I know, in town, you work with the police chief, you work with all the townspeople and stuff. So I'd like to get to know the exact role of with the police chief, with, dispatch, because it's a, public safety complex like we have in Hadley. We shared dispatchers. So I'd like to get down to see exactly what we need to do and what we can do to make things better, or what I can do, hopefully with my, background in dispatching. Maybe I can have a little bit, some insight in that.
Good. How do you make sure everybody's on the same page in your department?
Communication's key. That's my biggest thing is communication. I know all of us don't have the answers, but you can reach out to people to get the answers. But communication is number one for me, to make sure everyone's on the same page. I know that there's some people that communication, you kind of tell them some stuff, but don't tell them the whole thing. But telling everyone, getting the picture out there to everyone is really what people want.
So how do you communicate with people? Like, what methods would you use?
My biggest thing is talk to people in person. I like talking to people in person, one-on-one or in a group setting. That's my, one-on-one is, or in a, the whole Zoom thing I know with COVID and stuff, but I like face-to-face.
Yep. Good.
How do you keep organized that work?
So being a fire chief and deputy chief, we do get a lot of paperwork. So I like to keep organized. I do have different folders and different files that I like to put in. For my computer, I have different things set up so I can see, our payrolls here, inspections are here. If I get paper, then I have it all in a folder and I have it labeled, especially what years and the date, the time, the months, everything. So I kind of keep organized like that.
Good. How do you handle setbacks or failures?
So handling setbacks and failures, like I said, I did struggle through high school. So I didn't get the best grades. So I did receive, a couple Fs and stuff. And you do take, you got to take a step back. You got to refocus. You got to take a deep breath. You got to know what the goal is and reach for that. But sometimes you might have to step back a little, take a deep breath, kind of see the big picture, and then move forward from there.
I taught for 32 years. I saw a lot of people who did not get good grades in high school become very successful. So not a problem for me.
Tell us about a time you failed doing something and how did you deal with that?
So I went for my EMT school, my EMT in 2006 when I was a senior in high school, and I failed it. I took the test 3 times, only had 3 times to take it. I failed it. It was kind of disheartening at first because I know like if you need to get your EMT and become a firefighter, so I really needed it. So I actually moved to Cape Cod and took my EMT class out of there and kind of got away from everything, all the distractions, so I could focus on getting my EMT. And I got it like 2 years after.
So just kind of worked hard.
Yeah. I'm more of a hands-on learner, so it takes me a little bit to kind of like get focused a little, and that's what I went out there and lived with my aunt and uncle, and I still stayed on the call force and stuff. So on the weekends when I came home and stuff, I still stayed active with the fire department.
Was it me?
Yeah.
All right. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I would like to see myself as the Greenby Fire Chief in 5 years. I'm at that age now in my life where I'm ready to settle down and stay where the department that I'm going to be on and give it 110% with whatever department. I'd love to be here as a fire chief, and I'd give 110%. And hopefully I'm still here in 5 years if I do get selected.
What are your professional goals going forward? I know that you have extensive background already, but do you have other goals moving forward that you would pursue? And
I do. So I definitely am still looking to getting my master's degree. That is a goal of mine. I've actually reached out to Columbia Southern University where I got my bachelor's, and I do look to getting my master's degree in emergency management or fire administration. I also fire prevention officer 2. That's a new class that's been out for the last couple of years, but it's hard to get into. And I'd really like to take that because I think that as the fire chief, you're the one that signs off on all the permits and everything and liquor license. And I mean, I do inspections now in Hadley. We do have a lot of commercial property, but you being the top person, you're the one that signs off on everything. So I would like to go for my fire prevention officer 2. And if things do work out, there is also an executive fire officer class down in Maryland that is also a really good class that other chiefs have talked about. That's a good class to take.
What's an example of a time you disagreed with a colleague, and how did it go?
So it could be anywhere. Okay. So I disagreed. I went out, we did an inspection, and there was one thing that I kind of noticed during the inspection. This was when I first started as the deputy, and I didn't agree with the building inspector right away. So I kind of said something to him, just like, hey, like, I really think that we should look at this again. And maybe just go back and just look at the codes real quick. And he goes, no. And I'm like, no, I think we should really go back and look at the codes, and talk to, talk to the chief or reach out to the, in fire prevention. There is a hotline for us to call if we have any questions for the fire marshal's office for code compliance. If there's ever a question, we can actually call them at any time and they pick up right away, and they actually will either tell us right there, or they'll call the engineers, or they'll call someone right away and get us the answer. And we went back and, and him and I both talked about it afterwards, and he was like, no, he's like, He's like, sorry. He goes, I shouldn't have overlooked it. He goes, I'm glad that you brought it to my attention. I shouldn't have, made it like a little stink right there in front of the manager. I'm glad we came back and talked about it.
So, were you right?
I was, but a long way around.
Just wanted to be clear.
Yes.
All right, but you worked it out.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right. And you didn't kind of like stuck to your guns.
Yeah.
Okay, what does success look like for you in this role?
Success looks like for me, and if I was the chief of Granby, is I want to make sure that the department's successful. I want to make sure that the townspeople feel safe. I want to make sure that I have a good working relationship with the department heads, because that's how you become a successful person. You need people to help you, especially in small towns. I definitely think that success looks like having one of the top of the line fire departments held to a standard, and that's where I like to see success.
Anything else?
Yeah, you have all. So,
Yeah, pick something from there.
what was that?
Doing pick something here.
Um,
Questions, those are just basic questions I had.
Did you have what you wanted to ask?
Not specifically, no.
But you want to ask? So, you want to ask? We'll ask it.
Sure, let's see. Leadership. So describe a challenging emergency incident you managed and how you handled the situation.
When I first became deputy, we had a river rescue. It was a boat accident. We got responded. It came in as a boat accident, single boat on the river, unsure of how many people. I was one of the first ones down because of the way the river was. I went to Mitch's Marina. The chief went to Sportsman's. So when I went to Mitch's, there was a boat there, and they said, literally, the boat's right here. So I told the chief, I said, I'm going to hop on the boat and I'll be operations on the river if you want to assume command. Mm-hmm. So we did. And when we got there, we had 3 victims and they are severely injured. One did pass away a couple weeks after. So I was just in my head, I was just rambling, like, hey, let's call Met Flight. Let's get Met Flight. But I knew the weather wasn't good. But even just getting that key out there, like, we're contacting Med Flight just to even see if they're flying, because I knew how critical the patients were. So when I got back, the chief looks at me and goes, you knew that Med Flight wasn't going to fly, right? And I said, yeah, but I just wanted to make sure that we checked all our check boxes and everything.
Both of our candidates do not live in town. And he said it's a problem, and how would you kind of get over that problem, like the distance?
So I live right in South Hadley, so I'm 3 miles. Well, I'm 2.6 to the town line,
South Hadley's too.
and I'm 5 miles to the station, and then I'm about 10 miles to the Belchtown line.
Okay, I thought for some reason you lived in Hadley.
I work in Hadley, but I live in South Hadley.
Gotcha. All right, good. So travel time is not a big deal. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us?
I really want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to make it to the final round. I really appreciate it. Like I said, being next door to the town, I grew up in South Hadley and Granby with family being around.
Oh.
And I just really appreciate the opportunity for you to give me.
Well, hopefully thank you for applying and going through the whole process.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And says something that you're a final candidate sitting in front of us too, so.
Thank you.
All right, that's it for us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
One more question.
If you were offered the position, how long would it be before you think you would start?
I would have to respectfully give my chief at least a 2-week notice.
Absolutely. Okay. Would you get more or?
I'd give 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious. I don't know. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
We should make a decision.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna kind of deliberate, and make a decision, right? Just want to go over my paperwork first. I'm ready when you're.
Yep, I'm good. I had some previous notes that I was working on, so. Start it off or?
Yeah, I mean, with Evan Bryant, I thought his river rescue sort of told a lot about what he's capable of. You know, he saw what needed to be done, he did it. Didn't need to be asked. He backed things up. He kind of took charge, so I was that impressed me. Clearly he works hard, and then he's like really kind of worked on his education and stuff. I like his professional goals. Flaherty, I like the fact that he seems to have more years of experience and probably more. He's a chief now, so he has that. He's got the academy experience and the teaching experience, which I really like. And I like the fact that he impressed me as somebody who's very organized. And as somebody who personally struggles with that kind of thing, I appreciate that.
Okay. I don't disagree with you. They both have good qualities. I am looking at a lot of their test scores. They came in close on some, but some were quite a difference of point scores here. I do like the fact that they had emergency experience in different situations. Obviously, a huge problem on a river is a big thing to handle. I like that he did go out of his way to reach forward to life flight. Obviously, conditions overruled that, but it's a good start to move down that road to see what's going on. And on the other side, we had a major gas leak, which was handled well.
Yeah, and the ammonia.
And ammonia,
Yes, yep.
Yep. So, and it looks, from what the chief and his committee put together, it looks like they both have quite a bit of experience in all of it. I did like Bryant, excuse me. It seemed like he excelled in the fire management situation. In a scenario, he scored really high on those things, and I think that it's very important to have somebody that can work under pressure and, put a fire out, especially in Granby. We don't have fire hydrants. We have trucks that carry water, and I think that response time and the ability to command that situation is important.
Yeah. I'm leaning toward Flaherty myself.
Okay.
If,
So-
if you disagree, we're gonna have I don't even know what we're gonna do.
So I would say have Glenn.
But I'm not telling you to agree with me.
No.
For-
I won't, because I'm leaning in the other direction.
Yep.
I am leaning towards Brian. He definitely had better test scores throughout the process and, self-educator and continuing to educate himself, wants to get a master's degree.
Yeah.
He does have a few more credentials, I noticed. Different ones, I guess, different than Flaherty. So I guess I am leaning towards Bryant. He has a commitment to excellence and a passion for public safety. 7 years as deputy chief. He has experience in developing and managing budgets, which is a huge thing because obviously we've had some problems with our
That way, yeah.
past budget. So I guess we're at a split decision between you and I.
Yeah. Like, I don't even know what happens now. I don't-
So now I would say you have to ask Glenn to watch the interviews and make a decision in your next meeting.
And that's okay. Like,
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah.
Yeah, can you check with Brian just to make sure? I mean, I don't think he has to be.
You don't have to make a
Oh,
decision
you're right.
tonight. You don't have to. No.
All right.
You can definitely wait and ask. I mean, he can watch when it goes out and then he can see what his thoughts are. And then you can come back on August 14th and make that decision.
All right.
It's your split.
Good.
All right.
Yep.
Well, thank you for providing that information because I had no idea.
You can
Yeah.
do that.
I wish Glenn were here tonight to choose it, but
I suspect he has something major going on for it.
so I guess we will be tabling the fire chief position until our next meeting, since we are split decision currently.
When's your next meeting?
August 14th.
2 weeks.
Should I have it?
No, 14th, 17th.
I mean, 17th. I don't have a calendar with me. 2 weeks?
Monday's 18.
18th. So August 18th.
Yes, 18.
All right. Chief, you're already here. You want to come up?
Is okay?
Is it a long presentation right there?
No, so basically, the opioid task force has met a few times
Yeah.
and done some research, and we are very limited on what we can, spend this money on. We're hoping equipment, but I sent off a couple of emails and we're told, no, you can't do that.
So can you just for me and for the.
Okay, so the opiate task force was for, because the town, as in, as all the other towns, cities and towns in Massachusetts,
Yeah.
several of, they sued some of the pharmaceutical companies over opiates. And there was an award. I believe off the top of my head, we have roughly $169,000 that was given to the town of Granby as part of this settlement. But it is very limited on what you can spend that money on. It has to be on education, like Narcan, which we get from Hampshire Hope. So there's no sense spending money on it when we can get it donated. So we're trying to look at different avenues. But one of the education things we found was there's a place called Second Act, where actually recovered addicts put on a play. And the play we're suggesting that you sign a contract for is I'll Never Do That. It's an intimate story of one family's struggles happening behind the closed doors. The story shed lights on family dynamics, the harrowing path to recovery, and the overwhelming truth that addiction is a family disease. So we found out about this, and they will do 4 performances. They're about an hour long. We would do 3 during the day at the school, and then we would do 1 in the evening so that families have a chance to go if they would like. Right now, the school said that Friday, September 19th is a good date for them. So 4 performances would be $5,250. So they would need to, again, because we are just a committee to present to you folks for approval. We think this is a good idea to do this, and they do have some other performances. So if this goes well, maybe we could bring them back. And
Let me ask you a mundane question. The $169,000, do we have a limit on when we can spend it, or do we just have?
I don't believe there's any. I don't think it was like the COVID money or whatever.
So
I
there's no
think
timeline.
I don't think there's a timeline to spend it. Correct.
All right, good. Yeah, I think it's.
All right. So it's something we could, like, if you continue to find.
Yeah, we could do this.
nature,
You know,
you
a
could
couple this year,
do
a
it
couple next year.
periodically.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it sounds like a good idea to me.
I agree.
I think I already said this. I'll probably keep saying this for every meeting for the next year that I taught for 32 years. But after it was my kids who I graduated between 98 and like 2004, so many of them died. They started out with OxyContin.
Yeah.
And which is where this money's coming from, is these people who produce those opioids that got the kids into heroin.
Yeah.
I
My daughter lost a classmate from here in town.
lost count. I lost count.
Yeah.
I used to do Saturday morning detention, so I had some of the kids who were living more risky lives and stuff. But on the other hand, in the last year, I've lost 2 of my own classmates, and we graduated in 1982. So it's a real scourge, and anything we could do is good.
Exactly. And again, like, we do have our drug abuse response team officers. We have a couple of them. So we've been trying to get some ideas from them too. Just if there's anything that they get from their trainings to help educate, and again, we have Narcan in all of our cars. We also have Narcan available to the public, no questions asked. If you have a opiate issue in your family, just come, stop by the station, and we'll give you Narcan.
Is there there's the new stuff hitting the streets like Trank. I don't know if we're running into the college. I think Trank is a street name for it. It's
Most of it's like the fentanyl-based stuff that's so powerful that a couple of the overdose and deaths we've had been people that had cleaned themselves up, and then they go back and try again, and probably knew they used X amount last time they get high. They do the same amount, but it's not a controlled drug. It's just mixed up.
I would say it's
Sold, unfortunately,
I don't know. It may not really infiltrate our drug supply as much now, but I think I want to say it's xylazine. It's an animal tranquilizer, and
I know there was a Special K was a animal tranquilizer too.
yeah, this is like they started mixing it with heroin, and it's people are developing multiple addictions now. So Narcan takes care of the opioid thing, but when I can't remember if it's actually xylazine. They call it trank.
Okay.
Like,
I'll have to do some research.
too. So we
Now you say that, I think we did see something come across, but knock on wood, we haven't seen it.
so far so good. All right. Okay.
How often would you do something like this, Chief, if you're thinking that it's something that you would do progressively?
I believe off the top of my head, they said they had like 4 different performances.
Okay.
So maybe like one now. We talked about this to the schools because again, we want to start with them, but we'd like to at least have one more in the evening for parents want to go with their kids or just anybody. You don't have to have the student. And I would share it and try to share it wherever we can. And they don't even have to be Granby residents. You want to come and check it out? Come check the play out. So maybe a couple 3 times a year.
Okay.
We have plenty of money.
Yeah.
So.
Do we know anything about the group? Are they are they recovering addicts or anything like that?
They are recovering addicts. Or yeah.
Okay.
So I would agree. I think that's a good move.
Yeah, I think it is.
Way to utilize the money.
Right.
Do we need to?
Yes, make a motion.
I will make a motion for the opioid task force to utilize some of their funds to put forward performances at what, are you going to use the East Meadow School?
I
or-
think we were going to do the high school for during the day and
Okay.
maybe East Meadow at night. I don't think they've sorted all of that out. And honestly, they wrote it up that they have it as Mark because you're the chair would sign the contract.
Okay.
So basically, I think maybe just a motion to sign the contract.
To sign the
And then
contract for
if we get another one, we'll come back and say, hey, this is what we have. We'd like to keep you informed, and then that we can spend the money down, and you guys are aware of how it's going down too, and the public is.
Okay.
So,
If you want to hand it to me, I'll read it. I'll send it.
okay, yeah, then that'll explain it a little better than what I can do on hearsay. Thank you.
I don't know about
You got the magnifying glass?
Yeah, magnifying glass of 49,000 words here. All right. So, client organization, Town of Granby, the select board hereby contracts with Second Act organization, henceforth 2A, to provide 4 prevention plays. I'll never do that. Program is 4 prevention plays. I'll never do that for the 7th through 12th grade students at Granby Junior High School. All right, they give us a thing. The total cost, it's $5,000 to put on the plays and stuff, and $250 are estimated expenses like travel stuff. So for the total is $5,250. That money is coming from settlement with drug companies. I won't get into the opioid mess that they cause. So I'll make a motion that or you can make a motion that I can sign this contract.
I will make a motion that Mark signs the contract for the opioid task force and Second Act.
Sounds good. All right. Date signed is August 4th. Thanks. All right. Tammy?
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Get a copy from you in the morning. Email it off.
Yep.
All right, thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna hop over to, well, how do you want to do this? Because we got Steve here and I want to hold him up.
So he's here actually for, you can go ahead with the line because there's ATP.
Thanks, Russ.
Thank you, Russ.
Steve, you want to talk about ATP and Harper's? We can do that first. It's under my report anyways.
Town Treasurer Steve Nally here to talk to us about payroll and then other issues to talk about.
We can talk about the health insurance.
The health insurance as well. Yeah.
Good evening, gentlemen and Madam Administrator. First, I want to thank the chair for attending the meeting for the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust. It was long and arduous, and we made the right decision for all the communities. The motion was passed to increase the rates for the health insurance 20% effective October 1st of 2025. The administrator asked me to do an analysis of the costs for the additional premium for the town of Granby. and I prepared a chart, basically outlining the different plans that we have and how many employees are enrolled in each plan. We have a total of 170 employees that are participating in the group insurance. Based upon the current premium and the new 20% increase effective October 1st, that would amount to a monthly increase in premium for the town share of about $26,000. For the remaining 9 months of the fiscal year, starting with October 1st, our total exposure is about $238,000. Now, that number is likely to change up or down due to retirements, terminations, new hires, and things of that nature, but that's the magnitude of the cost of the increase. Now, the funding source on that is not been determined at this point, and my suggestion is that the administrator and I meet with the finance committee to determine the best way to fund this. However, it's not likely we could do a separate or additional appropriation. We simply don't have the funds committed for that. So we are limited to basically a couple of things. Transfer money, for example, from the reserve fund, which is not enough. Perhaps moving funds from the stabilization funds. But most likely, the most likely solution to this problem is to run a deficit in the insurance expense for that account. And it would take a hit on our free cash certification for fiscal year 26. Now, the good part about this whole thing is that my projections for earnings on investments for this current fiscal year is probably going to be in the neighborhood of $750,000. So it's not going to be where we're not going to have any free cash left over, but it will certainly be reduced by that $240,000. It's been trying, obviously, getting this news such late in the game in terms of not being able to include it in our budget for fiscal year 26. But just to put things in perspective, as was outlined in our Zoom meeting with the Group Insurance Trust, is that the GPL medications for weight loss are basically exploding or exponentially being more expensive, coming out to roughly about $500,000 a month in total payments for that. So it's not a sustainable expense. The Group Insurance Trust is going to be meeting and making a decision about reducing or eliminating coverage for those individuals that are using the drug just for weight loss programs versus individuals for treating diabetes. But that has yet to be determined at this point in time.
Is it, obviously we have no control over the
Absolutely.
cost of this or the increases.
Right.
Is there an alternative avenue we can take for
I know
insurance?
that our administrator is working in getting quotes from additional insurance carriers, but it's likely, I'm not hopeful that that would be the solution of the problem.
Okay.
So just kind of summarize. Now we met, get our town employees get their insurance through the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust,
Correct?
and which announced that we would need a 20% increase in how much we pay in order to insure our employees.
Basically to keep the insurance trust solvent, otherwise they would be bankrupt in the month of October.
So we were in a Zoom meeting for almost 2 hours.
2.5 hours, I think it was.
It was a lot of fun. I had a good time.
No doubt.
So people ask all kind of questions like, some people are like, what if we voted no and said, we'll vote against this increase? If that would have resulted in the insurance trust going bankrupt, and we would basically be on our own to insure everybody.
Equally as important that as soon as that occurs, then the town of Granby would be liable for the outstanding insurance claims, which could be anywhere from $1 to $2 million.
So we really had no choice to, there's kind of a lot of people on the Zoom call were kind of going through stages of denial, and they were in the bargaining stage at the end. It's like, basically, you vote yes, or
We have no insurance.
going to be in a world of hurt. We'll be in really a mess. So it's just a really, really unpleasant thing. And as Steve said, Tammy's been looking into other options. There doesn't seem, I don't know. We're looking at other options. I don't want to make any predictions.
I had mentioned to Tammy at one point possibly self-insured, but would that probably also be more costly
That
and
would
also put
ultimately-
those costs on
yeah.
us at what was already claimed?
That would be very difficult to accomplish and very expensive.
I know there are other cities
Yeah,
around us, but they're
Much bigger,
not,
much bigger,
much
yeah.
larger scale. So
And,
it's probably not an avenue we can even, an option we can even look at it.
and as Steve said, one of the cost drivers is people are familiar with it. Ozempic, Wegovy,
Yeah.
and these things, which people are using for weight loss, which in the long run is not a bad idea, but it's about $1,500 a month
per dose, yeah.
per dose. So if you're on that, you can do the math. Like, what was that like?
It's $500,000 a month is the
Yeah,
increase.
what's that for an individual? Is it like $18,000? Did I do that right?
Or
So if you pay $1,500 a month for that's the cost of it. How much is it?
6,000 times, yeah, 18,000. Yeah.
Right?
Yes, you got it right.
Every time I get a math problem right, I'm very excited.
To,
Doesn't happen too much.
to put things in perspective, the individuals that are using the drug for diabetes control is about $100,000 to $140,000 a month. So it is significantly larger for those people who are using it as a weight loss treatment.
It's just more people need to go out and get diabetes. Save some money. I actually take one of those for type 2 diabetes. Okay. So anyway, this is an unpleasant cost. We're going to be able to absorb this here, but it's not going to be, we don't expect insurance to go. We don't expect insurance to get cheaper
No,
anytime soon.
it is not.
So, and that was one of the cost drivers last year. I think the schools escaped without cuts last year, or like actual firings. I think they went through attrition. They've lost 18 and a half positions. Belchertown had a $2.1 million override. If they didn't override, they would have lost 43 positions in their school. The biggest driver, I think it was 8 to 9% increase in insurance costs in 1 year. So right now we're
looking at 20% increase.
yeah, that's just this year. And last year I don't think it was wasn't zero last year.
It was 20% effective July 1st.
Yeah, so we had
And it's going up again.
Steep increase.
20% come out currently or come out
It's going up another 20% effective October 1st.
October.
So we'll be making the payroll deductions beginning September 1st.
So, and needless to say, this also impacts our employees who were clearly, they understood the town's predicament, but they weren't really, we have sympathy for our employees.
Absolutely.
There's not much we can necessarily do about it, but yeah, we have to recognize the fact that there's a hardship there for, not just for the town, but the people who work for us.
Precisely.
Steve, based on your experience with it, do you see any relief from it coming forward down the road? And how do we possibly continue paying for an increase like this in a small town?
Well, I think this is a wake-up call for the Group Insurance Trust's executive board. About 5 years ago, they started off with about a $58 million surplus to cover these kinds of things. And over the past 5 years, that has dwindled down to less than $1 million at this point in time. I think that, like I say, it's a wake-up call. They're going to keep revert back to the more conservative participation in terms of keeping the reserve fund balances higher to handle these types of problems. And I think that, getting back to your point, that even though that there's a significant increase for the employees yet again this year, it's infinitely better than having no insurance.
So, yeah, I think it was a wake up call to the membership having been on that Zoom call. I think it was. I went back and I actually looked at some of their minutes and stuff, and I mean they did have they might have 10 or 12 people show up to the executive things, but there's 73 people who belong to the trust. So I think sometimes decision making can be improved by having more people with more skin in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't fault the executive committee for making the recommendations because they make typically valid recommendations to the membership at large. The problem is everyone is trying to control costs and keep the premiums as low as possible, but at this point in time, this didn't work out very well.
So yeah, the problems actually go. They were giving, in some cases, 0% increase. I think there was one year where they had a 2% decrease.
Decrease, yeah.
3 years where I saw
Yeah,
that.
and meanwhile, this is while almost everybody else is making some increase in their thing. So
Sure.
we really got nailed with sticker shock. It was like everything came at once, and that was an unpleasant surprise.
Certainly.
Steve, would you like to talk about the ADP Harper's payroll?
Yes, sir. As you know, we've been working with ADP as a payroll vendor for the past 2.5 months, which has been a very slow, painful, and arduous project. 2 weeks ago, I sent a letter off to ADP expressing my concern about the confidence that we had regarding ADP's capability of performing payroll services for the town. Last Friday was the status meeting for the week, indicating, where we are in terms of going live at this payroll. And it was disclosed to us at that meeting that they were unable to deal with the total number of pay codes that we have for both the town and the school. Meaning that they would be unable to provide us with a simple, effective method for us to enter in timesheets for the employees. To put things in perspective, many companies typically would have maybe 2, 3, 4 pay codes at most. On the town side alone, we have over 550 pay codes, and the school has about 850 pay codes. And the reason for that is that we have a tremendous amount of wage reporting things that we have to do, whether it's by fund, by department, by special programs like grants and things of that nature. So it's a very complex problem. And the issue is we can't be in a position where it would take us days to input timesheets into the payroll system. Once the admission was made, I had a conversation with our project manager about 30 minutes afterwards. I called the school department first to inform them of the decision of terminating our position with ADP because they are unable to comply with our basic needs. I also, at this point, would like to comment for the record the extraordinary help that the school has provided with Mary Houle in working with me and providing all these necessary reports and data uploads and things of that nature. She's been a trooper, attending every meetings, following every training sessions and so forth. But it was clear on Friday that ADP would not be able to handle our payroll. So we made a decision to terminate the further efforts on that. And I know that at this point in time, we contacted Harper's Payroll, which I believe the administrator is going to present to the selectmen this evening. In speaking with them, they have 51 cities and towns that they're currently doing payroll for municipalities. And they have assured us that they will be able to handle our number of pay codes.
Is that normal to have over 1,000 pay codes? Is that what we have?
Municipalities are extremely special.
Okay.
Okay. Like I say, it's the reporting requirements that, not only do we have to do, but the school department for DESI and so forth, because we have to track payroll not only by fund, obviously, but we have to do it by department. In the schools, it would be, general office or main office, then there's each schools and things of that nature. But it gets very complex because you might have many of the employees, maybe 40% are basic. Okay, they have straight salary, straight hourly. But in the case of teachers or, for example, fire or police department, they have several pay codes because they might have, in the case of a police department, for example, they may have a base hourly rate, but then they have a shift change issues, and they have officer in charge. And
Yeah.
it goes, the list goes on and on. And we also have a unique mix of an employee could have both a salary and an hourly wage that complicates the calculations quite a bit. I found that the most difficult portion that ADP was having difficulty with is our pension system. Basically, we have both the school department for Massachusetts Teachers Retirement, and we also have the Hampshire County retirement system. And the calculations can get a little complex because some wages are subject to retirement, some are not.
Yep.
And obviously, when you're subject to the retirement system, that you're not subject to Social Security or FICA tax. And that concept, I guess, was a little over their company.
Very familiar to me personally, but yeah.
Yes. So at any rate, all those reasons made it not tenable.
Plus, how much, you have the contract, actually, Steve, I don't have the contract. How much was it for Hoppers?
For Harper's, off the top of my head, I think
Like
it
up-
was
well,
14,000.
14,000. So we're going to be saving a big difference too, because ADT was,
Now, I mean, in all fairness, when Mr. Martin and I were looking at various payroll programs, ADP seemed to be an excellent choice because of the HR portion of this.
At the time.
Because we don't have an HR person, and that duty has taken a back seat for the past 30 years or more. Now, Harper's has a HR system, but nowhere near as developed or as robust as ADP. But on the other hand, the most critical part, in my view, is getting the paychecks out.
right?
Get the payroll out, and if we can save some money for the town and still accomplish some goals
Or similar goals, yeah.
or similar, then
Yeah.
that would be the thing to do, I think.
I'm going to use that savings to offset the insurance.
That's where my mind is going.
Not enough, but that's all right. It's an effort.
Obviously.
In the last meeting, the select board did approve me to sign Hopper's payroll.
Yeah.
So I can sign that tomorrow and we can move forward with that, Steve.
Good. Hopefully that takes some things off of your plate.
This has been extraordinary. The school department, Mary Hull and myself, we've been working 7 days a week, sometimes 10, 12 hours a day, trying to work on this project. Along the same notes, I also want to inform the board that I'm extremely pleased with the performance of our new administrator. She is putting as many hours as I am, and it's been a difficult transition because we're doing not only just payroll, but new general ledger accounting software. And we've been helping each other, working well together, and I think she's, given the circumstances, doing a spectacular job.
Wonderful. It's good to hear, Steve.
you.
Thank you. And thank you, Tammy.
Yeah. I think we feel the same way.
Thank
We
you.
do. I do, for sure.
All right.
Anything else you need?
Nope. Thank you, Steve.
I have the part here that I can give you. This is the current programs that we have.
Yeah.
The second page is analysis.
All right. Good.
There's the grand
Yeah.
total.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
All right. So we hand it over to the town administrator.
Nice. So I'll just start off with the, we have a Dufresne rental for Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, August 9th. It's going to be 9 to 2, 75 people for a picnic social gathering for the pavilion, and they'll be using the kitchen, not alcohol.
But there's a little discussion on that. Do you care about that information personally? Like,
Who's renting you, Frank?
yeah, I mean, like, first, this is like, I mean, it's not a big deal, obviously, but like, honestly, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, it's just general knowledge, I guess, more than anything, to let people know that the park will be used that particular day. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I would.
To me personally, no, it doesn't matter all that much, but I think that people should know that it is going to be used and occupied.
Because I remember the past were like, well, Joe and Sally's daughter's graduation party is going to be at their, I don't know. I would skip the whole thing, but I just want to bring that up. We don't have to go any further with it
Okay.
today.
So we're gonna still let them know and, or do you want me not to give this to?
No, just,
Good.
I just want to bring it up.
It doesn't take
We're
long.
not-
It's quick.
One thing is fine.
It's pretty fast.
They have 49 of them, maybe.
All right, so this is just an update on the West Street Building Committee. Some of there's going to be decreases. They'll cost the estimate approximately 5 million. So the reducing is going to be reducing paving and minimizing grading. That'll save around 50,000. ADA compliant, we could save around additional 30,000. Using horizontal water pump and moving it to the corner basement room rather than the building, a pump house. Using above ground water tank in the east parking lot, allowing for elevation opportunities. That's going to be 100,000 to 150,000 savings. Flattening the sloped ceilings and changing the lights from pendants to 2x2, changing flooring to finished. Remove all walls within workspaces, which reduces door count by 7, $20,000 savings. Replacing insulated metal doors with half glass panel doors. And not building a vault for the file storage, instead keeping vital records in a fire safe vault. So the committee was presented 4 options. I'm going to read all the options and let you know which one they decided to go with. The first option was put it out to bid as drawn and see where the bids land, and then chase grants and other funding to make up the difference. Problem is that we're not guaranteed any more funds from the town, which could end up possibly no municipal office space. Option 2, valued engineer option C, with TA moved into cafeteria to reduce square footage. Square footage decreases by approximately 700 square foot. However, cafeteria will need abatement. Number 3, layout for annex employees only, leaving town employees upstairs in the senior center for now. Or the last option, layout based on what can be accomplished within our budget per square foot. This calculates us to approximately 8,400 square feet, with the construction cost reflecting all the above changes. Town administrator would stay in the senior center for now. Addition for the TA office within West Street building will be bid out as an alternate. They ended up going with number 4.
Which was again,
That was the one where the TA stays up in the senior center for now, with addition of the TA offices within the West Street building to bid out as an alternate.
so back on, was it June we made this decision?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
We talked about value engineering. This is value engineering. It means that amount of money we're spending the same. What's happening instead of we're cutting costs, we're still trying to basically do what we need to get done, but we're doing so by, keeping the town administrator here is what it looks like.
Yep.
And there, also you need some opportunity. You can't really be crowded in with other people. You have things that are,
Yeah, it's important that I have some confidentiality as well. So
yeah.
we are meeting tomorrow, and we're going to try to see if we can at least do the abatement side of the town administrator's office. So then in future we can, plug away at it.
Because I don't really want to go and ask for more money.
Right. It's in our budget right now. So
Yeah, I think we need to work with what we have. So I think it's the right decision to make
I agree.
for now.
Yep.
I think it'd be easier if we get the ball rolling
Yes.
and get somebody into the building.
Yep.
Even if it's a lesser of a space, at least going down the road, if we can find more funding, then we can add on a little bit at a time.
Yeah. We can even see back, see if we can try that ADA grant again. There's other things that we can
grants
do,
that we can find, sure.
That was definitely the best option
Okay.
with what we have. So,
All right.
also DESI, they did get in contact with me September 15th. We are hoping for them to come out. Well, they're actually going to do virtual to give us information on regionalization. School committee and finance committee will also be invited on September 15th. Just a discussion. It's just talking. Any questions that you both have, and Glenn, send me an email so I can have them, be prepared with all the questions that we may have.
Okay.
So, and that's it.
Do you want me to make the motions? You can second them, or you want to make the motions and I'll second?
doesn't matter.
This is exciting now. Yeah, there's like
Ex-
two of us.
Departmental reports. I will make a motion to accept the departmental reports.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Maintenance warrants. Okay, I will make a motion, Town of Granby authorized for payment warrant number 0009 dated 8/1/2025 with a total disbursement on warrant 9 of $68,032.20. And that is fiscal year 26 dated 8/1/25.
And I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I will make a motion for payroll warrant number 26-08 dated 8/1/28 with a total disbursement of $376,161.43.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Miss having Kathy here, I can threaten to mess up the paperwork.
In the blue folder, I'll take the ones that you guys signed.
Yep.
So they're organized. Perfect. Thank you.
Those are maintenance warrants and approve and sign common vic licenses. Is there only one thing? This was the rest.
That's the only one. That's it. That's it.
One common vic license number 25-54. I make a motion, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Town of Granby is certified that Poco Rosso of 314 Apremont Highway, Holyoke, Mass. 01040. Why am I confused by that?
It's them serving food.
Oh, okay.
It's food.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
For the wine house at 16 East State Street, Granby, Mass. Expires December 31st, 2025, unless sooner revoked or suspended, dated August 4th, 2025. So it is a common vic license for serving food at the wine house at 16 East Street.
Have we been signing these?
Hmm.
Have we been signing these?
Yeah, yes, Kathy gave it to me tonight, so
Is it a food truck?
I'm not, I know it's a food, I know it's serving food.
I'm
Must be a food truck.
just trying to, think about our executive session discussions
Yep.
and whether our attorney would advise us to sign that.
I can always check with him.
When is this event? Okay, no, he's just applying for the license. There's no specific event that he's applying for. Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think we need to table it and then
check with Attorney Costa.
Yep.
check with Attorney
Yep.
Costa, and then I think we need a little bit more information on this, stating what they're actually gonna be doing, not just like
Serving
an
food.
application of serving food.
Can I have a sticky?
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, and then just the minutes.
We have minutes, one set of minutes. I will make a motion to approve the select board minutes dated July 7th, 2025 for a regular board meeting.
Second. All's in favor?
Aye.
You guys have any issue?
Okay, sorry.
Do we have any other business?
No, I do have one other thing I want to mention though. I did checked on the Forge Pond. You asked me, they said there's another hearing at Conservation August 12th. And they also applied for the federal permit. That's where we're at right now.
All right, thank you, because I actually had somebody ask me about that today. And okay. Oh. All right, nothing else.
Nothing else.
I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.